Pay rent or get out. Those words exploded right next to my ear, loud, cold and dripping with rage, while I was still lying in a hospital bed at Novant Health Charlotte, my head spinning from morphine every breath, feeling like a knife slicing through my broken ribs. I opened my eyes. First the stark white ceiling, then the blinding LED lights, and then my father's flushed red face. Richard Harper, 58 years old, 6'2", well over 240 pounds, a former construction worker who'd been chronically disabled with back pain and living off disability checks for the past 8 years. Next to him stood my stepmother Lisa, 46, bleach blonde highlights, filler plumped lips, clutching a fake Michael Kors bag that I knew for a fact she bought with a credit card opened in my name. And in the corner of the room, leaning against the wall, was my little sister Ava Harper, 24, face buried in her phone, pastel pink dyed hair, hiding most of her eyes, but I could still see they were red and puffy. I tried to lift my head. The 32 stitches across my forehead pulled tight, blood still seeping somewhere under the bandage. 4 cracked ribs on my left side made me scared to even cough. My right arm had an IV line taped to it, my right leg was in a brace from a dislocated knee. Dad. I just woke up 2 hours ago. My voice came out hoarse and weak, I could barely hear myself. Don't dad me, he roared, jabbing a finger in my face. You live in my house, you pay rent like every other month. It's the third already, where's my $950? I wanted to laugh, but all I managed was a groan. $950. The price I'd been paying every month since I was 19 just to sleep in the 100 square foot bedroom in the house my real mom put 50% down on before she died of cancer in 2011. I'm in the hospital. I got hit by a pickup truck, Dad. That's your problem, Lisa cut in, her South Carolina accent sharp as ever. Me and your daddy still gotta pay electric, water, cable, Netflix for the whole house. You think money grows on trees? I looked to Ava for help. She glanced up for half a second, our eyes met, then she immediately dropped her gaze again, thumbs flying across TikTok like she could escape into it. I don't have cash on me, my wallet's still at the house, I whispered. Richard leaned in closer, breath reeking of coffee and cigarettes. No money? Then get out. 3 days. You have exactly 3 days to pay rent or pack your shit and leave my house. I'm not bankrolling grown-ass women. I slowly shook my head, tears spilling from the shock and pain. I'm your daughter. Smack. The slap came lightning fast and hard enough that I didn't even have time to flinch. My right cheek burned like fire, my head slammed into the bed rail, the IV ripped out of my vein, blood spraying in tiny arcs across the white sheets. I toppled sideways off the bed, my skull cracking against the cold vinyl floor, broken ribs screaming as something inside me tore again. Blood poured from my mouth, metallic and nauseating. AVA, I screamed in my head, but all that came out was a gurgling whimper. I heard running footsteps. A young nurse, maybe 25 or 26, burst in face, ghost white. Sir, you can't. Shut your mouth. Dad spun around, finger in her face. I'll sue this entire hospital for how my daughter's being treated. You want to lose your job? The nurse froze. She looked at me sprawled on the floor, blood pooling, then at Richard, then at Lisa, smirking with that don't get involved in family business look. The nurse swallowed hard, backed up and quietly closed the door. The room fell dead silent again. Just my heart pounding in my ears and Dad's heavy breathing. Ava finally lifted her head. I saw tears rolling down her cheeks. She looked at me, lips trembling, but no words came out. Just that look, scared, guilty, helpless. Richard straightened his shirt like slapping his daughter was the most normal thing in the world. 3 days, he repeated, ice cold. Pay rent or get out. Then he turned and stormed out, Lisa trotting behind him, trailing cheap Victoria's Secret perfume. The door slammed. I lay there on the freezing hospital floor, blood dripping from my arm and mouth. My mind was spinning. The physical pain was nothing compared to the agony ripping my heart apart. But right in that moment, tasting blood, ribs bleeding under the gown, I made a decision that would change my life and theirs forever. My name is Emma Harper. 29 years old. Born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina. Digital marketing specialist at a big real estate firm. And this is my 100% true story about how my biological father and stepmother tried to destroy me while I was fighting for my life in the hospital, and how I turned their greed into the longest, darkest, most painful nightmare we'll ever pay for. If you're watching this video, please hit like right now. This story is long, heavy on the drama, and I need you with me until the very last second. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is there. Let's go. My mom, Sarah Harper, died on a Tuesday afternoon in October 2011. I was 15, a sophomore at South Mecklenburg High. Stage 4 breast cancer, late diagnosis. She only lasted 11 months. Our house in Ballantyne, Charlotte, North Carolina suddenly lost the smell of Mom's weekend chocolate chip cookies, lost her bright laugh when she sang Sweet Caroline in the kitchen, lost the only person on this planet who ever loved me unconditionally. The funeral was barely over when Dad changed. Richard Harper, 44, back then tall, handsome Southern construction worker type, started drinking more, coming home later looking at me like I was a stranger. He told me, "You're the big sister now, you gotta take care of yourself." The first week after Mom died, I was babysitting neighbors for $12 an hour. Weekends I worked the counter at Jim and Nick's BBQ on Pineville Matthews Road, smoke soaking into my hair and clothes and dreams. Every tip went to electric, water, internet because Dad said money's tight now. Tight. While he rolled up in a brand new Ford F-150 right before that Christmas at 18, I earned a full-ride scholarship to UNC Charlotte marketing major. I cried tears of joy. Dad said dorms cost money. Live at home and save. So I stayed, and that's when the rent started $600 at first, climbing to $950 once I had a full-time job. I paid 75% of the household bills: power, water, Xfinity, family, Netflix, even Ava's car insurance. Meanwhile, Dad sat on the couch watching the Panthers on a brand new 75-inch TV, claiming my back won't even let me lift the remote. In 2012, just 10 months after Mom was buried, Dad brought home a woman named Lisa, 34 years old, nail tech at a salon near South Park Mall, bleach blonde, acrylics always 6 inches long. They got married at the Mecklenburg County Courthouse, no guests. Lisa moved in the next week with knockoff Louis Vuitton suitcases and a cloud of sweet like candy perfume. From that day on, money flew out faster than BBQ smoke. Dad bought a 2014 GMC Yukon Denali, a 19-foot Sea Ray boat, for weekend golf buddy trips to Lake Norman. He joined Ballantyne Country Club, $12,000 initiation, $650 a month. I know because I found the statements mixed in with Bojangles coupons. While I ate instant ramen with an egg to save for tuition. Ava was 11 when Lisa arrived and got treated like a little princess. Latest iPhone, UGG boots, Lululemon dance classes at Studio 51. Ava never washed a dish, never worked a day. Me, I was the responsible adult with a steady paycheck. When Ava turned 20, she got obsessed with skincare, blowing thousands on Drunk Elephant and La Mer sets from TikTok Shop. She borrowed $6,000 from me, swore she'd pay $300 a month. 18 months later, I had received exactly $240 and one text: "Sis, I'm broke this month, I'll double next time." And Dad, chronic back pain diagnosis in 2017. Ortho Carolina wrote him off work permanently, so he pulled $2,800 a month Social Security disability plus early pension. That should have been plenty for the family. Instead, it vanished into golf, Woodford Reserve, bourbon, and Myrtle Beach weekends with Lisa and friends. I once asked Dad, "I already pay almost every bill, can we lower my rent a little?" He looked at me like I was a random tenant. "This is my house. You live here, you pay. Don't like it, move out." The house my mom put 50% down on in 2005 still had her name on the original deed. The house I grew up in, where Mom rocked me on the porch swing, singing lullabies. Now it was just a boarding house where I paid to sleep in my childhood bedroom. I lived like a tenant in my own home for 14 years. I thought that's what a good daughter does. I thought I was keeping the family together. Until the day I woke up in the hospital, Dad slapped me off the bed and screamed, "Pay rent or get out." That's when I finally realized this was never my family. I was just a walking ATM who could talk and take abuse. But y'all, that slap didn't break me. It woke me up. 4 days after the hospital slap, I was discharged with pain meds, a rib brace, and doctor's orders for light activity and total rest. Dad sent Ava to pick me up. The entire 20-minute ride from Novant Health to Ballantyne, she said exactly one sentence: "Traffic's bad, sis." The rest was silence and Taylor Swift on the speakers. Dad's Yukon was freshly washed in the driveway. I shuffled up the front steps, clutching my ribs, trying to stand straight. The second the door opened, Lisa's sweet like candy perfume hit me like a wall mixed with Whataburger grease. The living room wasn't a living room anymore. Mom's leather sofa was shoved against the wall to make room for a giant shiatsu massage chair. The coffee table was buried under Sephora bags, glossier boxes, and at least 3 pastel Stanley cups. Kayla's clothes, Dad's 2 3-year-old girlfriend were everywhere, sparkly crop tops, ripped jeans, dirty golden goose sneakers kicked onto the hand-knitted rug Mom made years ago. I limped to my room. Door cracked open. I froze. My oak wardrobe, the one Mom bought me when I started college, was padlocked with a huge combination lock. A yellow sticky note on the door read, "Pay rent first, Dad." My stomach dropped. Not from the ribs. Because right then I knew they had planned this. Lisa was in the kitchen repainting her nails, Barbie pink. She glanced up with a fake sympathetic smile. "Oh, you're back, sweetie, careful, floor's still wet." I ignored her and dragged myself upstairs. My room looked like a thrift store exploded. My bed had Kayla's pink feather duvet. My desk was covered in UV nail lamps and the ordinary bottles. My work MacBook Pro vanished. Next morning I woke at 6 a.m. for physical therapy. Grabbed my house key, tried the front door. It wouldn't turn. They had changed every lock overnight. I pounded. 10 minutes later, Kayla opened the door in a robe, my grandmother's silk, turquoise robe I'd kept since she died, yawning, popping gum, Gen Z drawl. "Oh, you don't live here anymore, sweetie." I shoved past her even though every step felt like a stab. In the living room, Dad, Lisa, and his golf buddy Greg were huddled around the dining table, laptop open to Airbnb. Greg pointed at photos of my room. "This space. Easy $1,500 a month. Private bath near the community pool, 5 minutes to Ballantine Village. Post today and it books instantly." Dad nodded, sipping Dunkin'. "I'm bumping weekends to $1,650. Panthers season, baby." Ava sat on the couch, hugging a pillow, eyes red. When I walked in, she looked at me for 1 second, forced a tiny smile Lisa taught her, then looked away. But her eyes were wet. "Where's my stuff?" My voice shook. Dad didn't even look up. "In the wardrobe. Pay the $950 back rent plus $500 new deposit and I'll unlock it. Otherwise the next tenant moves in next week." I stood in the middle of my own house like a stranger. Kayla kept smacking her gum. Lisa smirked. "Don't make it hard on your daddy." Honorable Mrs. Lopez, our sweet Mexican neighbor who'd watched me grow up, was watering plants outside. She saw me standing lost on the porch and waved me over. She pressed a thick envelope and a small key into my hand. "Aquí tienes $400 mija. And the key to the shed in my backyard. Sleep there tonight, there's an air mattress, light fan. Don't let them see you cry." I hugged her and burst into tears. $400. She cleaned houses for a living widowed young, raising 3 kids alone. Yet she gave me more than my own blood. Dad handed me a printed 1-page lease, $1,650 divided by month, 2 months deposit, no pets, no overnight guests. I signed with shaking hands, not because I agreed but because I needed my passport, car, title, MacBook, and clothes. That night, I slept in Mrs. Lopez's garden shed. Smelled like fertilizer and dirt. Mosquitoes buzzing. I curled up on the air mattress, clutching the one backpack I'd managed to grab, listening to laughter and BBQ smells drifting over the fence. They were celebrating their new Airbnb room. But in the October, Charlotte chill, for the first time in years I smiled. Because from that second on I knew they had picked the wrong person to mess with. The first night in Mrs. Lopez's shed, I lay awake until 2 a.m., listening to mosquitoes and their laughter across the fence. I couldn't sleep, not from the pain, not from the smell of fertilizer, but from one thought looping in my head. How long have they been planning this? Next morning, Mia, my best friend from UNC Charlotte, now a night shift nurse at the hospital, texted. "No arguments. Get your broken self over here now. I work 7 p.m., 7 a.m. You take my bed, I'll crash on the couch." I stuffed my few belongings in the backpack, hugged Mrs. Lopez like she was my real mom, and took bus route 16 to Plaza Midwood. Mia's 1-bedroom was tiny but clean, smelled like peppermint oil, Taylor Swift posters everywhere. I collapsed on her bed, the first real mattress in a week. But I couldn't rest. I opened the Chase app. I check my accounts weekly, but I'd been in the hospital. Balance -$18, 427.63, I thought I was seeing things. Blinked hard, zoomed in. Negative almost 20 grand, I had never been more than $200 overdrawn in my life. Scrolled recent transactions, 9/28, Louis Vuitton South Park Mall, $3,809/30, Myrtle Beach Oceanfront Resort, $2,144.10/1, Coach Outlet Tanger Outlets, $1,679.10. Apple Store South Park, $1,899. iPhone 16 Pro Max Desert Titanium. All on credit cards. I never opened. I called Chase immediately. After 45 minutes of verification, the rep read the authorized users on 7 brand new cards. First card opened 3/15 this year. Additional cardholder Lisa M. Harper. Shipping address 14215 Ballantine Country Club Drive. Your address, ma'am. I went numb. Lisa had used my social security number, my birthday, my address to open 7 cards in 6 months. Total limits $42,000. Current balance $18,427 and climbing at 29.99% interest. I asked, can I report fraud? Absolutely. I'm sending the dispute and fraud affidavit forms now. I sat on Mia's floor shaking. 18 grand. That was my entire emergency fund, the down payment I'd saved for my own apartment. Gone. Then an old memory punched me in the gut. I was 14, mom in the hospital on chemo at Levine Cancer Institute. One night she grabbed my hand, so weak she could only whisper, Emma, if anything happens to me, remember the house is half yours and half mine. I put half in trust for you and Ava. Don't let anyone take it from you. A will. I had never seen a will. Dad said mom died too fast to make one. I now knew that was a lie. I opened Mia's old laptop, went to Mecklenburg County Register of Deeds. Typed the address. Owner Richard T. Harper, 100%. Mortgage refinanced 2013, 2017, 2021, all in his name only. Mom had been completely erased from the house she paid half for. In the next 30 minutes, I called 3 more banks. It got worse. Discover $4.200 debt, Wayfair Furniture Capital One, $6.100, Beyoncé concert tickets for the whole family Amex Gold. Opened last month, already $3.800 annual fee plus Vegas flights. Total over $32, 0 inches debt in my name. I sat on the floor crying. Not over money. Over realizing my own family had been turning me into a debtor without me knowing. But I only cried for 10 seconds. Then came rage, cold, sharp, clarifying rage. I texted Mia on her break, need to borrow your best butter knife. Going home tonight. Mia, spare key under the mat. I get off 7:30 a.m. I'll pick you up. Don't do anything that lands you in jail, Queen. 11 p.m. Black hoodie, Panthers beanie, backpack. Took the last bus to Ballantine. Stood in front of my house now with a sign, quiet please, Airbnb guests sleeping, even though no guests yet. My old first floor bedroom window was still cracked open like always. Dad was too cheap to replace the latch. I pried it with Mia's butter knife. 30 seconds later, I was inside. Kayla's Ariana Grande perfume choked the air. Pink feather duvet princess pillow. Didn't care. I tiptoed down the hall to Dad's office. The cheesy ship painting still hung crooked on the wall, the one that hid the safe for 15 years. Safe code was still Mom's birthday, the 22nd of July 1968. Safe clicked open. And in that moment I knew my life would never be the same. 3:12 a.m. Saturday. I crouched behind the cedar bushes beside the house, black hoodie, leather gloves, breath fogging in early winter Charlotte air. Kayla's Instagram story 20 minutes earlier, whole family at Catawba 2 Kings Casino near Lake Norman, Lisa hugging a pink bucket of chips, caption family night, who wants to be my sugar baby. They'd be gone till at least 6 or 7 a.m. I hopped the fence, crept across the dew-wet grass. My old window still cracked. Dad never replaced the latch. Pried it with the butter knife. Click. Slipped inside. Kayla's perfume hit like cotton candy syrup. Pink duvet princess pillow. Ignored it. Barefoot down the hall so I wouldn't make noise. Heart pounding so hard I thought my ribs would crack again. Dad's office door ajar. I nudged it. Ship painting still crooked, lifted it. Gray wall safe, old but solid. Deep breath. 072219688 Mom's birthday. Click. Inside 2 thick file folders, a black USB labeled tax 2015 to 2024 inches Sharpie, and a yellowed envelope. First folder, Mom's life insurance policy, Mutual of Omaha, signed 2009. Payout $1.80000. Beneficiaries, Emma Sarah Harper and Ava Grace Harper. Trust fund split evenly at age 21 each. Paid the 14th of November 2011, 12 days after Mom died. Next page's confirmation letters addressed to our house, but redirected to a P.O. box in Pineville I'd never heard of. Second folder almost made me drop everything. Letter from mom's oncologist at Levine Cancer Institute dated the 24th of October 2011, 3 weeks before she died. Deadly drug interaction, warning high-dose morphine plus street. John's wort may cause severe arrhythmia, stroke, or sudden death. Attached prescription from a random Gastonia clinic dated the 27th of October 2011 for 120 times 300 mg street John's wort capsules. Signature looked exactly like Dad's handwriting I'd seen 1,000 times. I photographed everything, hands shaking so bad I had to retake shots 3 times. Plugged the USB into Dad's ancient desktop. Folders opened like a horror movie. Golf proof. Over 200 videos divided by photos of Dad golfing at Ballantine Country Club, deadlifting 180 pounds at LA Fitness, carrying refrigerators for Greg 2018 through 2024 while collecting $3 100 divided by month disability for can't lift 5 pounds. Cayman, passport scans. Butterfield bank statements, current balance $1.240890. Account holder Richard T. Harper. Medicare fraud, fake bills, fake doctor notes, photos of him limping into clinics then sprinting to his truck. Taxes, 10 years of fraudulent returns, unreported cash, construction jobs, never declaring mom's life insurance, claiming Ava and me as dependents years after we filed independently. I copied everything to my phone and a spare USB in my backpack. Then I heard tires. Headlights swept the front yard. Lisa's shrill laugh, Dad cursing, he lost everything. Clock 4:47 a.m. They were home 2 hours early. I slammed the safe, rehung the painting, bolted to my room. My work MacBook was gone, but I remembered the old laptop I used for my secret FraudGuard project still hidden under the floorboard. Yanked it out, stuffed it in the backpack. Front door opened. Kayla whining, I want Taco Bell right now. I climbed out the window, kicked the sill, hard ribs, screamed. Fell into the bushes, bit my lip bloody to stay quiet. Backpack crushed my chest. I rolled under Dad's pickup and froze. Footsteps inside. Lights on. Dad grumbling, left my phone in the office. I stopped breathing. Footsteps up the stairs. Office door opened. 10-second silence. Then muttering, weird paintings a little crooked. I thought my heart exploded. But he just straightened it, shut the door, went downstairs. Guess he figured he remembered wrong. I waited 15 more minutes, crawled out, sprinted across the yard, vaulted the fence, hid in the dark bushes. Ran to the Ballantine Commons bus stop, collapsed on the bench, gasping. In my backpack, a decade of crimes on USB, the laptop holding my future, and a heart now made of stone. I got back to Mia's at 5:40 a.m., covered in dirt and leaves, ribs on fire. Mia wasn't home from her shift yet. I crashed on the couch, plugged everything in. Screen lit up like a crime museum. I stared until sunrise, eyes burning. 8 a.m. I made the call I'd put off for 14 years. Aunt Olivia, mom's older sister, in Atlanta. Dad banned her after the funeral for asking, "Did Sarah leave a will?" Richard. She was erased from our lives. Third ring, raspy voice. I hadn't heard since I was 15. Hello, Aunt Olivia. It's Emma. 5-second silence. Then sobbing. Emma, oh Lord, is that really you? I thought I'd never hear your voice again. She cried. I cried. For 20 minutes I told her everything, the hospital slap, getting kicked out, the credit cards, what I found in the safe last night. Aunt Olivia stopped crying, voice turned steel cold. Friday, I'm driving down. I have a whole box of papers your mom sent me in 2011, just in case something happens. I've kept it secret 14 years. Time to use it. I hung up feeling like I'd just reclaimed half my real family. 11 a.m., random number texts, Emma. It's Kayla. Don't block me, I just got dumped. Your old man traded me in for a 19-year-old. I'm out on the street with nothing. I have 30 videos plus photos of him faking disability, limping, then sprinting, teaching me how to open cards in other people's names. Want them free. Just promise I get to watch him cry in prison. I almost laughed out loud. Send them. I'm buying you 3 margaritas when this is over. 10 minutes later, a Google Drive link with 4.7 gigabytes of gold dropped. Dad at the gym, golfing, carrying furniture, laughing. If I ever go to prison, I'll just use a real wheelchair, babe. I was downloading when my phone blew up. Ava. 2:03 a.m. Sis. I'm sorry. I saw everything. That day in the hospital I was too scared to speak. I knew you broke in last night. I sat in the hallway and heard Dad open the safe. I can't take it anymore. I'll help you. I read it 7 times. Ava, the sister who smirked when I got kicked out, the one who still owed me $6,000, I called instantly. She whispered, "Don't talk loud, I'm in my room. They're asleep, tell me what you need pictures of. Anything about Mom's life insurance, weird bank accounts, recent luxury receipts." 30 seconds silence. Then photos flooded in. Tiffany & Co. Receipt 3-carat diamond ring $28,000, bought 9/15 2 weeks before my accident. Wells Fargo statement $15,000 transfer to Kayla 10 halves. Handwritten note, Ava, sign here to stay my dependent 2024, I'll give you $500. Ava's signature crossed out underneath, don't sign equals no car money. Last photo, mirror selfie, eyes, red peace sign upside down, I'm on your side now. You're my only real sister. I cried, not sad tears. For the first time in 14 years I felt real family warmth. In 24 hours I had the 3 strongest allies possible. Aunt Olivia, keeper of Mom's original will and legal papers. Kayla, the dumped girlfriend, with a mountain of video evidence. Ava, my little sister, finally choosing to stand up. For the first time in years I genuinely smiled. 1 week after the break-in, I was no longer the girl curled up in Mrs. Lopez's shed. I sat in the corner of Amelie's French bakery in Noda Charlotte, black blazer hair in a neat ponytail, old laptop and a latte in front of me. Today was launch day for FraudGuard, the passion project I'd built in secret for 3 years in the very bedroom Dad just kicked me out of. FraudGuard is an app plus consulting service that helps small businesses catch financial fraud, weird money flows, fake credit cards, tax evasion, red flags. I learned from my own pain. I had pre-sold 12 local clients, bakeries, boutiques, BBQ joints, who were just waiting for me to say go. 9 a.m. I hit publish on fraudguard.co. 9:15 a.m. 8 contracts signed online. $7,000 total. Money hit my account same day. Balance jumped from -$47 to $6,953. I laughed so loud the barista looked over. Mia got home at 8 p.m., found me dancing in the kitchen with a Chick-fil, a box. "What are you so happy about? I just made a week's old salary in 1 day," she screamed. We jumped around like idiots. That night we celebrated with grocery store champagne and waffle fries. Celebration lasted exactly 24 hours. Next day Aunt Olivia rolled up from Atlanta in her Honda CR-V with a cardboard box of everything Mom left, just in case. Original notarized will from 2010, Mom's handwritten letters, files from Mom's old attorney Robert Davidson, still practicing at 72 office on South Tryon. We met him Friday. Office still smelled like old leather and burnt coffee. I laid out everything: safe photos, USB, Kayla videos, Ava pictures. He flipped through, eyes lighting up. When he finished he took off his glasses and looked me dead in the eye. "Emma, we are going to bury him legally. That trust fund $1.8 million plus 14 years interest is over $3.2 million. Insurance fraud, social security fraud, tax evasion, identity theft, and very likely, the drugs that killed your mother. We have enough for civil and criminal." He grinned like a warrior. "We're going to bury him legally." That week, Mr. Davidson and I did 3 huge things. Filed IRS whistleblower, Form 211 with the entire tax 2015 to 2024 folder. Reward up to 25% of recovered funds, estimated minimum $250,000 from Cayman accounts and back taxes. Reported disability fraud to Social Security Administration with videos of Dad deadlifting 180 pounds. Investigation opened immediately. Filed identity theft report with Charlotte Mecklenburg PD. Lisa instantly on the watch list for the 7 fake cards. I froze my credit. Everything done quietly, no paperwork mailed to the old address. Meanwhile, Ava did something that made me love her forever. Tuesday, she texted, "Sis, I'm moving in with you for good. I can't take it anymore. Me doors always open." 7 p.m., she showed up at Mia's with a suitcase and backpack, eyes puffy but grinning. I told Dad I'm sleeping at a friend's. I'm never going back. Mia gave us the big bed. First night, Ava whispered, "I signed fake tax forms 3 years because he promised car money. I'll testify now. I want him to give back everything that belonged to Mom." I held her tight. For the first time in years, I had my little sister back. Mia's tiny apartment got crowded but felt like home. 3 young women eating $5.99 Domino's, binging Netflix, planning the biggest trap of Dad's life. Fraud guard kept growing. Week 2, another 6 contracts, revenue over $15,000. I rented a corner at Advent Coworking, named my little office Phoenix Room. Hired Ava part-time, $18 divided by HR, more than Starbucks ever paid her. Every night Ava and I zoomed with Mr. Davidson, piecing evidence together like a puzzle. We weren't rushing. We wanted perfection. Dad had no clue. Kayla still saw his golf pics on Instagram, Lisa flaunting new bags, Airbnb listing already had 3 bookings. But the clock was ticking. Monday, perfect Charlotte weather, blue sky, 72 degrees Fahrenheit, the kind people caption. Thank you Jesus. Dad wasn't thanking anybody. 1:14, 2 a.m. Mrs. Lopez FaceTimed me, camera shaking. She was so excited. Misha, Costco, South Park, right now, your dad's at checkout. I opened the live stream. Dad in a green Lacoste polo pushing a cart full of Wagyu beef and Michelob Ultra. Card declined once, twice, 3 times. Clerk swiping frantically, sir, your card's being declined. Dad turned purple. This card has a $25,000 limit. Call the manager. Mrs. Lopez zoomed in, face red, purple, ghost white, when the manager called the bank. People in line started filming. Within 5 minutes, rich old man card declined at Costco was all over Charlotte. TikTok 87K views. First sign IRS had frozen every account in Richard T. Harper's name. 48 hours later, Wednesday 3 p.m. Police sirens on Ballantine Country Club Drive. Lisa was hosting a LuLaRoe party. 15 Ballantine housewives in floral leggings drinking LaCroix, ready to drop $500 each. Door flew open. 4 CMPD officers, 2 plainclothes detectives with a warrant. Lisa Marie Harper, you're under arrest for identity theft, credit card fraud, and conspiracy. Lisa mid-sentence, holding up an XXL legging, mouth open, arms frozen. One mom screamed and knocked over her White Claw. Cops read Miranda while Lisa stammered, I just sell leggings. Someone livestreamed y'all LuLaRoe party at Lisa Harper's and the cops just showed up. 1.2 million views overnight. Lisa cuffed hair, a mess, mascara running. Last look at the house before the patrol car. Last look for real. Same day Ava went to the station and gave official testimony. White blouse, high ponytail, looked 17. Hand on the Bible, she detailed every year Dad forced her to sign false tax returns so he could claim her as dependent. Showed old text, sign and I'll Venmo $500 for bags. IRS agent taking notes nodded, plenty for tax fraud charges. Ava's only statement, I just want justice for my sister and my mom. 3 days later, Saturday morning, giant red sign on the lawn, bank foreclosure. Property to be auctioned by Mecklenburg County Sheriff. The house mom paid half for, officially seized. Dad had refinanced 3 times and couldn't pay once, accounts froze. Auction happened right on the front lawn. 10 a.m. Saturday, beautiful, sunny day, like the universe was laughing. Over 200 spectators, neighbors, flippers, even some LuLaRoe ladies. Everything dragged out. 85-inch TV, shiatsu massage chair, Dad's Titleist clubs, $4,000 wine fridge. I stood at the street corner in a Panthers hat and sunglasses, Ava gripping my hand. Auctioneer, thick, southern drawl. Next item, Lenox china, set for $12, still in box, who needs it for weddings? Starting at $50, I raised my hand. $1, crowd chuckled. Auctioneer grinned. $1 from the lady in the Panthers hat. Sold next, Mom and Dad's 1,995 wedding album, Mom glowing in her dress. $1 the oak rocking chair Mom rocked me in. $1 hand-embroidered picture Mom made in 2008, home is where Mom is. $1 every time I raised my hand, Ava squeezed tighter. Nobody bid against me. People started understanding and quietly let me have them. An old lady beside me whispered, God bless you, baby. I carried home 27 of Mom's treasures for a grand total of $27. Dad watched from the upstairs window, face white, gripping the curtain. He didn't dare come out. Mr. Davidson had already gotten a temporary restraining order after Lisa's arrest. Final Hammer house sold to investor for $485,000. Dad disappeared behind the curtain. I heard glass shatter inside. That night, Ava and I sat on Mia's living room floor, washing every Lenox plate, flipping through Mom's wedding album. Ava crying, sis, did we get Mom's house back? Not yet, I said, stroking her hair. But we got Mom back. Mrs. Lopez texted, my son bought the house cheap. Turning it into a Latinx community center. Named it Sarah Harper Community Center. Come cut the ribbon, mija. I held Ava tight. We cried, but victory tears this time. Dad's empire was crumbling day by day. And we were just getting started. The 14th of October 2026, Federal Courthouse, Western District of North Carolina, Charlotte. Courtroom 3 packed. They opened an overflow room with live stream. Local media called it the biggest family fraud case in North Carolina in a decade. I wore a simple black suit, sat front row with Ava and Aunt Olivia. Ava squeezed my hand so hard her nails dug in, but I didn't let go. Dad Richard Harper, now down to 170 pounds, hair snow white, prison buzz cut, orange jumpsuit, #47891-058, shackled hands and feet, was let in. He wouldn't look at me. Lisa, 3 seats over, hair dyed a bad black, no makeup, eyes swollen from crying, in county jail all week. Federal prosecutor Amanda Chen laid out the final charges: wire fraud and mail fraud. Tax evasion, 2015 to 2024, $1.67 million. Social Security disability fraud, $312,000 restitution plus fines. Trust fund conversion and life insurance fraud, $1.8 million. Policy on my mom. Identity theft and aggravated assault, hospital slap security footage. Total provable damages over $4.9 million. 5-day trial. Ava testified, first navy dress, voice shaking but clear, detailing every year Dad forced fake signatures, threatened to cut college money, told her don't sign and end up like your sister. When they played video of Dad deadlifting 180 pounds while collecting disability, the whole courtroom burst out laughing. Dad stared at the floor. Kayla took the stand next, green hair, chewing gum, but testimony razor sharp, videos of Dad teaching her fraud, limping then sprinting. Prosecution offered immunity for all evidence. Judge, deal accepted. Then my victim impact statement. I stood, walked to the lectern, looked Dad dead in the eye for the first time in over a year. He still wouldn't lift his head. Deep breath. I read, Your Honor. On October 3rd last year, the man I called Dad slapped me out of a hospital bed while I had 4 broken ribs and 32 stitches. He screamed in my face, pay rent or get out, like I was a stranger behind on rent. He stole my childhood, my college money, my dead mother's life insurance. He stole memories of her by selling everything she loved. But his biggest mistake was thinking that slap would break me. You tried to break me in that hospital bed. But you raised a fighter. Today, I'm not here for pity. I'm here to say I won. I took back everything you stole with interest. And I'm using every dollar to help hundreds of other women never go through what I did. I don't need your apology. I need you gone from my life and my sister's forever. 5 seconds of silence. Then thunderous applause. Judge Judith Moore let it go 7 seconds before banging for order, but I saw tears in her eyes too. Sentencing. Judge Moore stared straight at Dad. Mr. Harper, you turned greed into an art form and your own children into victims. You profited off your wife's death. You assaulted your daughter while she was hospitalized. This court sees zero remorse. I sentence Richard Harper to 18 years in federal prison, no parole before 85% served, $2.4 million fine and full restitution to Emma and Ava Harper. Gavel slammed. Dad finally looked up, eyes, bloodshot, mouth open, no sound. Marshals cuffed him again and led him away. He stumbled. Ava broke down sobbing and threw her arms around me right there in court. We cried like little kids while cameras flashed. Aunt Olivia rubbed our backs, whispering, your mama's smiling right now. Lisa sentenced 10 minutes later, 20 months, federal prison, $52,000 restitution, 5 years probation. She begged for mercy. Judge, you picked the wrong team. Kayla got full immunity and winked at me on her way out. Reporters swarmed. I said one sentence into the microphones: today isn't revenge. Today is justice, and the day I became truly free. That night Ava and I opened a $20 bottle of champagne from Harris Teeter on the balcony, watching the Charlotte skyline. Ava whispered, we won, right sis? I nodded, tears falling again. Yeah baby, we won. 6 months after Dad walked into Butner Federal Correctional Institution, my life had completely transformed. The old Ballantine house no longer smelled of cheap perfume and fake laughter. Mrs. Lopez's son Carlos bought it cheap at auction and turned it into the Sarah Harper Community Center, first Latinx community center in Ballantine. My old bedroom is now an evening ESL classroom. Mom's old room is a little library with Spanish and English books. The kitchen always smells like tamales and cafecito. Mrs. Lopez cried, cutting the ribbon while Ava and I held her giant sign out front. In loving memory of Sarah Harper, a mother who welcomed everyone. Every Sunday, Ava and I still drop by to teach financial literacy for women. I stand in my old spot teaching 30 immigrant women my story. Some cry, some hug me. I know mom's smiling somewhere. I bought a 1,924 Craftsman bungalow in Dilworth, 10 minutes from downtown, wide porch, stained glass windows, small backyard where I planted yellow coreopsis, mom's favorite flower. She always said yellow reminded her of Carolina. Morning Sunday, every morning I open the windows, smell, flowers and coffee, feel like mom's sitting on the rocking chair I bought back for $1. Fraud Guard isn't a bedroom side project anymore. First year revenue hit $2.3 million. I hired 15 employees, all women who survived financial abuse by family. Ex-husbands hiding assets, parents stealing scholarships, siblings stealing inheritance. We work in a sunny South End office painted pale yellow with the motto "From Victims to Victors." Ava is a junior at UNC Charlotte's social work major, full scholarship from the fund I started. She's a full-time community outreach manager at Fraud Guard. $72,000 divided by year, already paid back the $6,000 plus interest with a handwritten letter. You're the only person who never gave up on me. I'm paying back every cent and all the love. Weekends she drives her white Jeep home, we binge Netflix on the couch, eating mom's chocolate chip cookie recipe, laughing until our stomachs hurt over memories that finally feel light. One July morning I got an email from the IRS Whistleblower Award, claim number WB202547891, amount approved $268, $447.12, 25% of everything they recovered from Dad Cayman. Accounts back, taxes, penalties. I cried alone in my office for 20 minutes. Not for the money. Because finally, a piece of justice had my name on it. I did exactly what Mom promised when I was 16 and she was still healthy. When you graduate college, I'll take you to Hawaii to watch the sunset in Waikiki. I booked first class for both of us. 2 weeks on Oahu. We lay on Waikiki Beach sipping virgin piña coladas, watching the sun melt red into the Pacific. I scattered the tiny bit of Mom's ashes Aunt Olivia saved into the ocean. Ava hugged me and whispered, "She's here with us now, sis." That night I mailed a postcard from Hawaii to Dad in Butner. Front, perfect Waikiki sunset. Back, handwritten, "Dad, Mom promised me this trip when I was 16. You took everything from us. But you could never take this moment. Wish you were here, never. Emma." And Ava, I don't know if he got it. But I know for the next 18 years he'll see that postcard every single day. My new life isn't about surviving anymore. It's about thriving. 6 months exactly after the slap that almost killed me, the 3rd of October 2026. I stood in my yellow coreopsis garden, in my Dilworth Craftsman, early morning sun filtering through the old oak, gentle breeze, making petals dance like applause. Cream sweater, hot coffee in hand, looking back on a journey I never thought I'd survive. Dad sits in Butner Prison Library in a gray uniform, inmate #47891-058. Official job, shelving books and wiping tables, 12 cents an hour deducted for restitution. Word is he got beat his first week for bragging about his old boat and country club membership. Now he's in protective custody alone in a 6x8 cell. Nobody talks to him. Every night, his only entertainment is a tiny TV showing local news that occasionally still mentions the Harper trial as a cautionary tale. I don't hate him anymore. I just feel pity and relief that he's finally locked in the cage he built for me and Mom. Ava is a senior at UNC Charlotte's social work, graduated her associates early with straight A's and a full scholarship from my fund. Full-time at Fraud Guard as community outreach manager, $72,000 divided by year, already paid every dime back with love. Weekends, she parks her white Jeep in my driveway and we crash on the couch, eating Mom's cookies, watching Netflix, laughing until we cry at memories that finally feel like treasures. And me, I turned pain into power for so many others. Last month the Sarah Harper Fund for Financial Freedom awarded its first grants and scholarships to 42 women under 35, all survivors of family financial abuse. We help freeze credit, sue for stolen assets, teach them to stand on their own. One escaped a gambling father, one reclaimed her mom's house, one opened her very first bank account in her own name. Every time one texts Emma I did it, I cry like the day I made my first $7,000. FraudGuard now has offices in Charlotte, Raleigh, and Atlanta. 2026 revenue projected $4.8 million. Forbes 30 Under 30 NPR podcasts invited to TEDx Charlotte from hospital bed to $1 million mission. But the biggest success isn't numbers, it's waking up every morning unafraid. No more counting pennies to pay rent in my own childhood home. No more looking at blood relatives with suspicion. I have the family I chose: Ava, Aunt Olivia, Mia, Mrs. Lopez, Carlos, my 15 warrior sisters at work. We do Thanksgiving birthdays, cry together when one of us wins a final judgment. I set my coffee on the porch step, walked into the middle of the yellow flowers. Breeze carried their sweet scent. I closed my eyes, smiled huge, and said loud enough for the whole world to hear. They screamed in my face. Pay rent or get out, while I lay in the hospital with broken ribs and blood in my mouth. 6 months after that slap, I own my dream home, a $1 million company, and a real family, people who choose to love me without making me pay for it. I did it from rock bottom, empty-handed, with a shattered heart. If I can do it, so can you. Never let anyone tell you you're not worthy. You deserve to live, to be happy, to be free. You might hurt today, but tomorrow you will soar. I opened my eyes, looked at the blue Charlotte sky, and felt Mom standing right there smiling. Thank you for writing these 11 parts with me. Every like, every Team Emma comment, every late night you stayed up reading, you're the reason I'm strong enough to stand here today. If you're in a toxic family, being financially abused, hurting, please know you're not alone. Message me, reach out to the Sarah Harper Fund, find someone you trust. The door is always open, just like the door to my house now. From the girl who got kicked out with 4 broken ribs, I'm Emma Harper, and I won. See you at the top. We all belong there.